Namaste, Pereva Sharanam. On behalf of Kanchi Pereva Forum, we are pleased to welcome you to this first episode of Karuna Sagaram. This is going to be once in a week kind of an episode under this title called Karuna Sagaram, which actually translates into an ocean of compassion. So we chose this title because this perfectly defines the great qualities of Sri Mahaswami, who was a direct avatar of Lord Parameshwara, who came down to earth out of his compassion towards his children. Last week, as part of the introduction video, I had mentioned a few things about the great benediction of Mahaswami to us in the form of Maitrim Bhajata. And I also said there are a few interesting incidents and anecdotes behind making of this song. So today, we will get to learn about this beautiful incident that also showcases the devotion of Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi towards Sri Mahaswami, and alongside we will also learn about a few stories from the Upanishad which were part of Sri Mahaswami's discourses in Tamil. So let's get started with Maitrim Bhajata. So as I mentioned earlier, Maitrim Bhajata was a song composed and blessed by Sri Mahaswami himself in the year 1966. So this happened when Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi was invited by the UN Council to come and present a Carnatic music song in the UN stage. So this was like a great honor in those days, and she was the very first Indian musician to be invited to the UN to present a song. So on hearing about this invite, she went to Mahaswami and sought his blessings. Sri Mahaswami blessed her abundantly and said, the whole world right now needs to understand the message of universal brotherhood and friendship. So we will go with a message to them, to the UN Council, and that has to be a message of universal friendship. Saying so, he composed this beautiful song, Maitrim Bhajata, and gave it to Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi to perform in the UN stage. So Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi took this and then met up Sri Vasant Desai, who was a music director, and then she took his help to compose music for it, set it to tune. So it is also an interesting anecdote that Sri Vasant Desai got a check payment for this particular composition, but he never banked the check. Instead, he framed the check and kept it as one of his priceless treasures, and it is still available in his displays. So that's the kind of value he showed towards this particular song and this particular composition of Mahaswami. So the story goes on. Srimati M.S. took that composition from Sri Vasant Desai, the musical composition, and she started preparing herself to deliver this at the UN stage. Everything was set. So this was to get to the stage on October 23rd of 1966. And the special day came. But what happened was that she was in the US, but she suddenly developed a sore throat. She had a very bad throat. She was unable to even open up and speak. She was barely able to even breathe. That kind of a situation. This suddenly turned up, and then MS was completely shocked and frightened because she knew that this was a rare honor given to India. She was representing the country. And then here she was, the day has come, she has to perform, but she is unable to even open up and speak. These are her own words. She explains about this situation that she encountered in an interview she has given to the Films Division of India. So she says, I don't know what suddenly happened to me, but I was unable to even open up and speak properly. But I was just lucky that I was able to get some flowers for puja in the US. So she says that she carried a photo of Paramacharya Mahaswami always with her wherever she traveled. And so she found some help from friends to get some flowers. So she kept the photo of Paramacharya and did puja to him, and she was praying completely devotedly to him, asking him to somehow open up her vocal cord and bless her to sing it well and present it well. And everybody in her team were getting ready. The time was up. They had to be there in the stage by 3 o'clock. They had to perform. And they are asking her to get ready and move. But she is unable to because she only knows her situation. She says she did not even tell anybody about her plight. But she was still praying Mahaswami, and then she goes to the stage. She says, at another point, in an anecdote, she says, the moment she walks onto the stage, there was a huge thunderous applause that made her wonder, is it already end of the program or is it yet to begin? That was the kind of applause that was there waiting to receive her. And that added even more to her fright. She didn't know how she was going to manage. She was so afraid and frightened. She says in this particular interview by herself, she says, I went there, I sat and thought about Mahaswami, I prayed to him, and then I opened the very first word. And then the voice came out without any hindrance whatsoever. She says the voice actually sounded sweeter than ever. And at this point, Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi, as she talks about this particular point in time, she actually breaks down in the interview. So that explains the kind of compassion and grace Mahaswami can shower on his devotee. If this could happen to somebody like M.S. Subbulakshmi Amma, why not would it happen to anybody else, any other devotee, as long as he or she is truly devoted to Mahaswami? So that is the litmus test. That is the guiding principle. To Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi, she looked at Mahaswami as an avatar of Parameshwara himself. He was no different than God. She was able to understand that reality at that point, and she also received his blessings in abundance. So that is the incident of Maitrim Bhajata, how it was staged in 1966 at the UN. And of course, at the end of the program, there was tremendous amount of appreciation to her singing as well as to the beauty of the song, because everybody there had been given translated version of the song. So everybody understood the meaning that was conveyed by the song as well. People were truly moved by the kind of message that Sri Mahaswami had sent through her. So that is the making of Maitrim Bhajata. Now we have to get to the meaning of the song itself, because that is just not a song. It's not another song, but it's truly a great divine message to all of us. But before we get to those blessed lines, let's spend some time to understand a beautiful short story that Sri Mahaswami references in one of his discourses. So this is a beautiful story from an Upanishad called Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Brihat Aranyakam. It's basically a huge jungle, so to say. So this Upanishad is like a huge jungle. It's a big one. And within that, there are multiple different elements in that Upanishad. There are some interesting anecdotes, there are some interesting stories, there are also great philosophies which are explained in detail, and yet there are a few places where it is mentioned in a very subtle form so that a discerning reader or a discerning analyst can understand what is conveyed there by referencing few of the other elements that is found in the Brihadaranyakam itself. So that's the composition of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Now let's turn to the story itself. So the story setting is in front of the creator, who is Lord Brahma. So this is happening in front of him. And then three of the groups of people created by him, namely Devas, Asuras and Manushyas, they go up to Lord Brahma and they seek his advice, because all three of them, they are all desirous of improving their life and they want to seek salvation and the higher knowledge. So with this objective in mind, these three groups of people approach the Universal Father, so to say, Lord Brahma, and seek his advice. So who are these three groups again? Devas, Asuras and Manushyas. So the three categories of people. Devas basically are the ones who are in the celestial world, who are in heaven typically, in the Swargaloka, and they have a lot of, so to say, fun and enjoyment is in plenty in the heavens. And then are Asuras, the second category, who are known to be cruel and who are always at loggerheads with Devas. That's the second category. And then the third category is people like us, the humans, who are called as Manushyas. So these three categories of people, they go and stand in front of Lord Brahma and seek his advice for a betterment of life. And so Lord Brahma decides to give them a very short, sweet and cryptic advice. So he chooses to answer them with a single syllable, just one akshara or one letter, which can be construed as a word. So here at this point, Mahaswami makes a reference to the letter V, when you show this letter V in your using your fingers or hands, that usually is meant to be V for victory, right? So it can be a cryptic clue. So similarly, Brahma decided that he will use a cryptic letter to convey what needed to be conveyed to these three groups of people. So first, Devas went to him and asked him the same question. Please give us this advice or upadesha. And then Brahma says, just one letter, he tells them. And then he asked them, do you understand what I said? Now here again, Mahaswami says, usually everybody knows in their internal mind what is wrong with them. So you don't have to actually go and explain to them at length, because everybody knows inside their hearts what is their weakness and what they need to actually correct. Because that's a function of the Atma which is sitting inside, that always makes us understand truly what is lacking in us. So when he gave a cryptic clue, the inner mind actually understands what is wrong inside them and then tells them, okay, this is the point that probably Brahma is saying and we need to fix it. So with that kind of a mindset, we have to approach the story. This is as clarified by the Mahaswami. So Brahma tells them to Devas, the first Upadesha, he says, and then he asks them, do you understand what it means? So Devas think about it and then they say, yes, indeed, we understand. And here we reference back the point of extreme fun and enjoyment that is available in the heavens, which they are all very used to. So Devas understand that they have to actually control the kind of celebration and enjoyment that they have usually in plenty. So they understand the letter the as damyata, which is keep everything in check, keep it under control. So control your senses and celebrations and keep everything in moderation. As they say, moderation in everything, including moderation. So here, keep your senses or indriyas completely under control. That is damyata. So with the first akshara that he said, the Devas understood the message as damyata, because internally they knew this is what needs to be fixed inside them. And so they went off saying, thank you so much, we understood. Then came the Manushyas, the second category. So they came up to Brahma and asked him, please give us an advice. And then yet again, Brahma said the very same syllable, the. And then he asked them, do you understand what it means? So they think about it for a while and then say, yes, we understand. So what do they understand? Internally again, humans realize that there is so much in plenty that's available around them, which is given by the Almighty, but they usually have this habit of saving things just for themselves and for their own families. So the nature of being selfish has to be foregone, and they have to start thinking about giving more and more to others. So then they understood that needs to be fixed in their mind, and they said, yes, we understood your message, datta, which is to give. That is the upadesha for us. Thank you so much. And then they left. And then came the third category, which is asuras, who are always at loggerheads with devas, and they are known to be cruel in nature. So they come to Brahma and ask the same thing, please give us an advice as well. Then he thinks and says, again, the very same syllable. He says, the. And do you understand? And asuras think about it. Their nature is always to be cruel towards fellow beings and creatures and all that. So they know what needs to be fixed. They have to let go of the cruelty and they have to develop compassion towards all other beings. So they understand that they have to fix that particular quality in them. Then they say, yes, we understood your message. So we have to develop dayadvam. So we understood your message. Thank you so much. And then they leave. So here in this story, Mahaswami makes us understand that one single letter, the same akshara or syllable, can stand in for three different things, which is the same the can stand in for damyata, datta, dayadvam, which are three different things for three different groups of people. So he mentions here about the commentary written to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad by Sri Adi Shankara, and he says, let us not think that this three different pieces of advice were actually given to Devas, Asuras and Manushyas, but it actually applies to the whole of humankind, because Devas and Asuras are not just beings outside of us. In fact, each one of us behave like a deva or an asura or as manushya depending on the kind of control we exercise over our mind. So Acharyal, that is Sri Adi Shankara, in his commentary on Brihadaranyakam says, this the, which is Damyata, Datta, Dayadvam, all these three indeed apply to all of us as humans, because we have to develop and nurture these three important pieces of advice in our daily lives. So that's the essence of this beautiful story from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, again drawn from the discourses of Mahaswami. So let's take some time to think about it, internalize it into our memory, and in the next episode of Karuna Sagaram, we will also learn about how this thing ties back to the great composition Maitrim Bhajata. Until then, continue to enjoy the daily posts from Voice of Periva. Also spread the word around to all your friends and colleagues so that they can also get to enjoy this blessing of Mahaswami. Thank you. Periva Sharanam.